So this is part 2 of our tutorial for the Entrelac Pillowcase with 3D effect, where we make the grey diamonds. As you can see, we start off with half a diamond, followed by full grey diamonds, however many you need for your work, and then we have another half diamond at the end. You insert your hook here into the last chain stitch and then pull through your third color. Then you insert here at the side underneath the first row and pull through once more. Now I have 2 loops on my needle. We cast those 2 off together, then chain 1. Now we insert here at the edge, pull the yarn through, and then insert here underneath the second row. At the same time, we darn in the remaining bit of the blue yarn from the start. Now I have 3 loops, which we cast off pairwise. Another chain stitch, then pick up the second one from that stitch at the edge, the third from this vertical one, and for the fourth, go under the third row. Now I have 4 loops that I cast off 2 at a time. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th here into the 4th row. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we increase 1 every row. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go underneath the 6th row. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go underneath the 7th row and cast off . And again, chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go underneath the 8th row and back. Now the half diamond is finished and we can cast off with slip stitches. But here again we increase 1. We chain 1 and work the first slip stitch here onto the border stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 9th we work here into the last insertion underneath the 8th row. This one will now be my first loop, and now we will pick up stitches from altogether 11 stitches. We already have 1 and now we insert our hook here underneath each row. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now for the special part, we increase 1. For the 6th, I'm going to insert here into the front half of the stitch and pull through my 6th loop. And then I insert into both halves of that same stitch and get the 7th loop. Then 8, 9, 10, and the 11th one I pick up from here under the first row of the following red diamond. Now we crochet back 2 at a time. This now is my first row, just like the cast-on chain we had for the other diamond. Or at this point where we change colors. Remember, there's no decrease or increase in the first row of each diamond. But from now on and continuing for the next 7 rows, we'll work these two together for our second loop on the needle, just like a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th I pick up here from that transverse loop, and the 11th out of the second row of the adjoining diamond. Then we crochet back. One more time, the first 2 together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th out of the transverse loop, and the 11th out of the third row of the red diamond. Then cast off pairwise. And again, 2 together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th out of that transverse loop, and the 11th out of the following row. And now you can darn in the red end of your yarn here. When you remember that, you won't have any loose ends at the end of your work. If you know my tutorials, you know that I always keep that in mind, because I don't like to do it. But I guess I'm not the only one. So I always try to darn in any loose ends while still working on a piece. That saves you the extra effort. Just go around the thread and then back. I now have 5 rows, and I work them all the same way. Nothing special in the first row. Then for the second row you increase or decrease depending on the diamond you're working on. For these transverse diamonds we are currently working on, the decrease is on the right and increase is on the left. And that for all 7 rows, so that in the end every diamond will have 8 rows. The first one without increase or decrease, and 7 rows with increase or decrease. So here we now have the last row. We're underneath the 8th row and have 2, 4, 6, 7. So we're now casting off row number 8. And now we can cast off the whole diamond by doing slip stitches. If you have done entrelac before, you are used to doing one chain stitch here before you cast off. But in this case, with the 3D effect, that's not necessary. You just start directly with a slip stitch. It's kind of the compensation for the increase here at the bottom. You'll see that later when you cast on the next diamond. And the last slip stitch here into the last insertion point underneath the 8th row. This again will be my first loop, same as I had here, so that I can then pick up a total of 11 stitches. So if you have another whole diamond coming up, you just repeat all the steps for this one here until you've then reached the point where you finish with half a diamond. You start as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the 10th you pick up here from the edge. For these half ones, you don't increase any stitches here. Then immediately cast off 2 stitches together, so no chain stitch, because here at the edge we decrease 1 each time, because it's only half a diamond. So now just pick up the stitches normally. No decrease. On this half diamond, the decrease is on the left side. Right here we decrease the outermost stitch by casting off 2 together. Now in the 3rd row we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops remaining. Again, start by casting off 2 together, no chain stitch. Then in the 4th row we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops. Again cast off 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loop in the 5th row, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops in the 6th row, 2, 3, 4 in row number 7, 2, 3 loops in row number 8. And we'll end with the slip stitch and cut off the yarn. So now we finished the first row of transverse diamonds. Just like we have here, only that I have 2 whole diamonds and half a diamond on each side. We'll continue with part 3 of this tutorial.